One. F it up. Oh, I'm in the groove. Back in the mix. Check yourself. Oh, feel that healing beat. All right, heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Healing boost. Oh, I like the sound of that. Ooh, I must have this track on repeat. Repeat. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it. Break it. Break it down. Let's drop the beat. Beat. Let's get you healed up. Let's get you healed up. Healed up. Yeah. Healed up. Yeah, let's move it, people. Yeah, let's move it, people. Yeah, let's pick it up. Lucio coming at you. Coming at you. Yeah, time to heal up. Oh, turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up in my headphones. My headphones. Turn it up in my headphones. Audio medic. Audio medic. Audio medic. Move to the beat. Boost. Boost. Oh, this is my jam. Time to accelerate. Alright, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. F it up. Oh, I'm in the groove. Back in the mix. Check yourself. Oh, feel that healing beat. All right, heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Healing boost. Oh, I like the sound of that. Ooh, I must have this track on repeat. Repeat. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it. Break it. Break it down. Let's drop the beat. Let's get you healed up. Let's get
All right, we are live once again with another episode of Off the Wall, sponsored by CGO Console Gaming League, also sponsored by SoulSickClothing.com. And we have a very special guest, our guests, plural, today, and that is our very good friends, Vinnie and Hxrvi. How you doing, guys?
I'm
Doing
good, thanks.
Nice. All right, so listen, we got a lot to talk about today because I feel like, well, first of all, we got two people, so we're gonna have to like talk about a few of the things that you guys did together and also about you guys individually. So let's get right to it. I think one of the first or the biggest questions that I ask at the beginning of all the podcasts is I want to know where you come from as far as gaming, right? I want to see what your gaming origin is like and stuff like that. So tell me a little bit about what games you started to play originally. Let's start with you, Vinny, and then we'll go with Hxrvi.
Okay. So I've been playing games like all my life, but I'd say the first console that I got was an original Xbox when I was, I think, 7 years old.
Okay.
And when I got that console, that's not when I first made the gamer tag, Vinny. That's when I first got it, and I would basically just hop on Halo 2 and stomp people. And then it's funny because back then you were so young and you did good, but people were like encouraged it, I guess. They actually like congratulate you, like, wow, you're young and you're actually good at this game. It's crazy. Like you see that nowadays with like young people
It's the
doing
opposite
good
now.
in games, and it's the complete opposite. It's just shut up, you squeaker, blah blah blah, like go to bed, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
So,
it's like, oh, you're old and you're still doing this. You're
yeah,
adorable.
it's exactly.
That's what it's like for me.
Yeah. See, you just can't win with that. You're
No.
either young or you're old.
Right.
And now I'm 21 and I feel like I'm an old man
Yeah.
because all these people still going to high school, still doing all that stuff. So I feel old.
Yeah. No,
But yeah,
it's definitely a young man's game.
I mostly just came from that and then played a little bit of Halo. I never really played competitive. I was just kind of a pump stopper online. Mostly Halo and COD. That's where I came from.
Okay. What about you, Hxrvi? Where did you start playing?
I started on when I was like around about 4 years old. I started out on the Nintendo 64 playing like just casual games like Mario Party, Rayman, and that. Then I got the original Xbox as well. Started playing Halo, like Vinny. I've just kind of like swapped from like loads of different platforms and loads of different variety of games. I mainly played Halo, like Halo 3. Was one of my main games growing up, and I've also played like Smite MOBA like towards when I was like 13, and then some like MMOs, and now Overwatch really.
Nice. All right. So, next I want to know how you guys got into Overwatch specifically. Like, what brought you on, and what characters did you start to play? So let's start with Hxrvi first, and then we'll go with Vinny.
Well, I guess I discovered it for myself. I just saw it like get announced, and I was like really interested in it because I don't know, I just like the sort of the team-based aspect of it, and it looked like really, I don't know, just different from a few other games that are out right then. My first like sort of characters I started playing was like support. Back then, there was only like 3 supports like when it first came out, which was like Lucio was my first like ever character I like played properly. I played that in like the beta and like the start of like when the game first came out.
Right.
And then Mercy, I like took on Mercy for like a bit along with Zen. And then when Anna came out, like that's all I played for like a while. And then I've just kind of that's my main like sort of characters when I started up playing. I've always played those sort of that role, support role. I mean, I have played DPS in a few seasons. Back in season 2, I was a Genji Tracer main for a bit. And I went back to support.
That's disgusting.
Genji Tracer, man. That's disgusting.
Bro, I was lethal in Genji. Oh no.
Seriously.
Season 2, best
Backline
season 2
speed.
Yeah, I was.
All right,
That's
so
the
what
best.
what about you? What about you, Vinny? What got you into Overwatch, and who'd you start playing?
Am I allowed to cuss?
Yes, you can.
Okay, because I might accidentally just put out the F word or something.
That's fine. It's okay.
But No, but I remember like my friends were really excited about this game, and I had no knowledge of like anything about it. And they all got it and they were playing it, and I was like stubborn. I was like refusing to get it and like play with them because I thought it looked shitty. And that was just my first thought of it. And they finally convinced me to buy it like 2 weeks into the game's release, and it just as it turned out, I like loved it. And I was like pro. I thought I was like a fucking quick scoper in COD. So the first character I picked up was Widowmaker, and that's all I played in the beginning was Widow. That's all I played. And then I play comp with my IRLs, and they were honestly pretty bad. And that's why I feel like people always call me a season 2 diamond and all that stuff, but it's because I played with them and they were honestly pretty bad. And they quit the game after season 2, but I kind of just stuck with it and just solo queued it, and that's how I got like high SI, meaning Reinhardt actually.
So that's interesting. That's really interesting. I actually hear that a lot from like a lot of high elo players. Like I
Uh-huh.
remember speaking to a lot of people who their IRL friends got them into the game, and you know they at first they were hesitant, and then later on they figured out, oh, like my IRL friends are not that great. Most of them are like, you know, some people were
Yeah, exactly.
saying they were like, oh, they're plats and diamonds. And then, but then you, who were hesitant about the game, end up being actually good at the game.
Uh-huh. But that's kind of how it's been with like any other game. I kind of stomp like all of them because they're just kind of casual.
Right.
But I'm a real tryhard with a bunch of stuff. And yeah, they quit the game and I stayed playing it, and then that's how I got here.
Nice.
Just straight
uh,
solo.
absolutely. Okay, so let me one of the things before I got introduced to the Overwatch like high elo scene, before I knew about any of you guys as far as like you know the scene in itself. I remember being like I remember being platinum and gold, and I remember like even back then like people would talk about Vinny as like, oh yeah, he's number one, he's up there, he's like number one, he's like one of the OGs. And I remember that because I nobody else's name ever
Mm.
rung in like in any of those circles that I used to hang out with, but everybody kind of knew Vinny because it was like the type of gamer tag that was easy to remember, and you would always see it up there. Tell us a little bit about like the old days and getting to number one for the first time and stuff like that.
Well, I'd say because yeah, I only solo queued season 3, and I only played Reinhardt, and I was pretty high SR. I was like 4,500 plus, but no one still knew who I was. So then season 4 came around, and it was just like I decided like I wasn't really gonna play Reinhardt. I wanted to play like more Roadhog, and I was queuing up this comp game, and I was playing Roadhog, and I'm kind of shitting like on the whole other team, and it just so happened that Tensa was on my team, and he was streaming, and I used to watch Tensa a little bit too. And I remember like looking at his stream, like you want to like you're doing good, so you check the stream to see like, wow, is he saying anything about me? So then I go to Sense of stream, and then he's like, this Vinny guy is actually pretty good. I'm gonna invite him. I was
that's
Does
just
he
a
like,
such a
that's
good
a really good
impression?
tensa. That's a really
yeah,
good
yeah,
tensa.
it's spot on. So yeah, Tensa's like, oh, this Vinny guy is like not bad. I'm gonna invite him. And we were playing, we didn't lose. And then ever since like every day, Tensa would invite me to come duo, and we duo, and I duo with Tensa, and that's how I got like all my top 10 accounts. I started making Smurfs, hit top 10. It was like all doing with Tensa. That's how I feel like people first like found out about me is because of him.
Ah,
Like me
okay.
playing on his stream and me duoing with them
I mean,
and
I
stuff
know,
like
I,
that.
I know, I know that like Tensa's always been like this, sort of like a
Oh,
big
everyone knows
fig.
Tensa.
Yeah, like he's sort of always been the big father figure in the scene. Like he you know everybody has always told me there like everybody has a Tensa story, you know, and
Mm.
as early as it could be. So like it's fun to see that as well. So you know I think when I personally for me one of the things that like even before I actually saw you play or anything, people would tell me about, oh yeah, he plays Roadhog a lot. And at one point somebody was like, oh yeah, he's like because at the time Harblue was pretty big, and people would tell me, oh he's like the Harblue of Xbox. So
Yeah, favorite streamer.
yeah,
Hxrvi.
so what was it like about Roadhog around that time that was like I need to play him, and what was your style of like fragging out with him?
I mean, he used to be a little broken in season 4. There was a patch that came out where they like accidentally, I don't know if it was accidental, but they made it so that every time you hook someone, they're no matter where, You could like hook them through walls, like behind walls and stuff, and they'd always end up right in your face, like right in your face. So before, I swear there was a patch where what I would do is if there was a Zarya and like you self shield, you use LT, like your LT, to break the bubble and then hook them. And when they got hooked, they pulled up right to your face, and I swear you could like one shot a Zarya. So my whole game plan, because everyone is trying to ride Zarya, so I would just focus the Zarya, or I would just flank. And that's mostly what hogs do. They just kind of flank and try to like kill everyone, and you either feed or you kill everyone. It's one or the
Yeah,
other.
and that the hook 1.0 days where you could hook from across the map through
Yeah, the hook
walls.
1.0 and the fact that it left like it always left the person right in your face. So you could one
Yeah.
shot like almost anything in the game, including tanks. So it got pretty ridiculous. And then when
That is
Roadhog got
ridiculous.
nerfed, I remember when Roadhog got nerfed, it was season 5, and he was my most played that season by like a mile.
Yeah.
But then he got nerfed, so then I'm kind of sitting there like, I kind of don't know what to do here because everyone thought I was a Roadhog one trick. So then that's when I started picking up other characters like Zarya and like Winston Diva. I played that like a lot back then. And actually,
That,
yeah, the first time I hit rank 1, I was in a trio queue with Cubed.
yeah.
I remember we were playing with Cubed, and I don't know if you know who Ryan Dawkins is or Soldier
I've heard
Bot.
the name.
Ryan Dawkins,
Yeah, Ryan
I
Dawkins.
don't know of
multi-millionaire
him.
now.
Why do you know his name? Why does that sound familiar?
Because I've heard it in like Twitter comments and stuff like that, and I've heard other
Uh-huh.
high elo players talk about him, but I don't know him personally, or
Oh, is it
I
shit
don't know
on?
about him.
Yeah, basically, like that's the first dude I trio queued with them with him and Cubed, and we like went on a 20 game win streak, and I hit rank 1, and that was the first time I ever did it. And did the cringy, gotta screenshot it, gotta take a picture,
Classic.
blah blah. Yeah, the
Nice.
classic. And
That
yeah,
is classic.
Ryan was the first person that asked me to be like on a competitive team to play with
Was
him.
that the
So
team
then,
with me? Was that team before that?
I think that was a little, I think that was a little after. 'Cause my first
Oh.
team was with Celestial, Lexi, and Six God and Nano and stuff. It was pretty ugly. But yeah, he was like the person that got me into like the competitive Overwatch for like console.
Nice, nice. All right, so listen, let's move the conversation a little bit now. I want to talk to Harvey real quick. It's been always when I started doing the podcast and I started talking to a lot of people about like who should I have as a guest, that everybody has always told me Harvey, and Harvey has always dodged the solo interview. So the only way I could get him was to duo with Vinny
Yeah,
here.
so
But
Harvey's just a beta. That's crazy.
Yeah.
but I'm glad you're here finally, because one of the things that people have always requested from me to like interview is you. They and the one of the biggest things is like they always told me, oh, Harvey's one of the best supports on Xbox, especially like the flex support. And there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've always been told about you. From people who either maybe I don't know if like people are saying it because it's a meme or whatever, because sometimes people put up stuff like that to like get you to get on an interview, and they're like get
Yeah,
him
yeah,
in.
yeah.
But seriously though, a lot of people have been saying that you're probably one of the best flex supports on the box right now. What do you think about your gameplay and stuff like that makes you so good at being that flex support?
Well, there's a lot. I don't really know. I guess it's just being able to like mechanics is also like a main thing for flex support. Like compared to main support, like mechanics is like a high priority if you want to be able to play that role. So I guess like most people that play just aren't like that great mechanically, so they lack like in they just lack at the role. And I feel like people also don't really have the, not to be rude, but they just don't have the intelligence. Like everyone who plays like support to me just seem like a bit stupid. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's only a few players that know what they're doing. Everyone else to me just feels like they don't really understand what they should be doing on these characters and like how they should be using their abilities and like their cooldown management and
Mm.
stuff. They also don't really like take in like that. One of the other things is they play flex support. Like most people that play flex support also play DPS, so they play like so stupidly on these characters like Zen. You just people just do so many stupid things that just get themselves like they just lose games because of it. Like I just know since I've always played support, I've always known kind of like how to play this role, and I've always like just know the basics, I guess, and like the just the general like concept of like how to play these characters. And I feel like you always want to when you're playing like say Zen or Anna, it's always like good to like call out like your cooldowns and when you're looking to do things. Like with Zen, it's always loads of people don't really communicate. They don't communicate like who they're discording and stuff like that, which is like important. Like I don't know to like win, I guess, and help the team just like focus. I don't know. I don't really know to be honest exactly why. I guess it's just like mechanical skill, and the main reason why. I'd also just um, it's just I don't really know honestly. To be honest, I guess it's just the way I play the game for a lot. I've just had more experience, so I've just learned the role
So
better than
just
others.
yeah, just being, I guess in a sense it's a little bit of being able to be mechanically good and also have good game sense. But let me ask you this: has ping ever been an issue for you?
It's an issue, yeah. It's not that bad, but like it's kind of uncomfortable to play on. It's like when I play Zen, there's so many like times where I just do a certain things. Like I could trans and it would like activate the trans into like a second later, or like nano boost when you think nano like you nano someone, the ability doesn't like actually activate until like a second later. There's a
Mm.
lot of times where you look to nano someone,
You do it
you press
preemptively.
it, but yeah. So say if like I see my Ryan charging or something, then he's like really like weak, and I'm looking to nano him at like the last second. But doing it on an A is like you don't always get it off. The nano will be delayed, and the run will just die. And I don't know, it's pretty stupid. And also with Zen, there's something like ghost hit since he's a projectile based character. You always get these like ghost hits where like the hit doesn't it looks like it hits for you where it would hit, but it doesn't register because like they've already it just because it's already they've already moved on their screen, so you miss. But on your screen,
Yeah.
you're hitting them, so you get a no reg, and it's kind of irritating, I guess. And like some key moments, like clutch moments, you might have to like do something, and you just it can be a bit annoying. And it's not a main problem though, but it is a bit like uncomfortable to play on. I guess I don't really know the right word for it, but it's fine. It's not too bad.
But I feel like that lends itself even more to the fact that like you are so good at the position that despite having ping issues, you can still do well on NA teams and servers and stuff like that. So it kind of just goes to show that you know, like those other things like your mechanics and your game sense are, you know, they're so much better that they exceed the fact that your ping might be, you know, detrimental to some of
Yeah,
your actual
yeah.
gameplay.
Support isn't that ping dependent, I guess. It's not
Right.
compared to other roles like main tank. Main tank suffers, DPS suffers quite a lot. Well, depending on what DPS you're playing, suffers quite a lot from ping. So that's why you don't see as many good like EU players playing in these tournaments because they can't like cope with the high ping. It just makes them play really bad.
Yeah.
But you have a few.
Well, listen, let's talk about something that I think you can both answer for us. And you know, here's the thing. Throughout the last few days, there's been a lot of discussions, me included as well, is that there's been a lot of back and forth, especially on Twitter, about the impact that orgs have on the console scene. You guys are both part of one of the orgs of CGL, which is the Throne. First, let's talk about your experience about it, like how you got into the org, why, and what made you eventually leave, and like, you know, what was your experience overall with it?
I mean, I think when the first, what was it? Because the Lane Sauce tourney was coming around,
Right.
that got announced, and a lot of people weren't playing the game at the time. Like all the top people, just kind of like, because I wasn't really playing it. I was kind of only playing. I think when Call of Duty came out, I stopped playing Overwatch for a good like 2 months, and then the Lane Sauce thing came out, and I'm pretty sure it was either Dankest. I'm pretty sure it was Dankest that DM'd me saying that he wanted to make a team for it, and he wanted me. It was either him or Lagish. It was one or the other. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down. Just like make sure you get, the best of the best. And then after he kind of had the team formed, then he said like, oh, we're gonna be this dude Nips messaged me, and I've been talking to him, and he wants to be put under an org, and we can like make this big and blah blah blah. So I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like we can represent them. That's cool. And like honestly, like looking back, I don't really know what the org if it even benefited us like at all. You know what I mean? I feel like we
Yeah.
could have just played the whole tourney out without like representing anyone and making just like our own name. and stuff like that. It didn't really benefit us in any way. That's just at least how I saw it.
Right. I'm gonna talk an opinion thing too, but I want to hear your thoughts about it too as well, Harvey. What was your experience
Um,
like?
well, I got into the team because, like, I think I asked Lagish, who was also on the team at this time, um, if I could join. I think just because like I knew it was a good team, I had like some good players on it, and I wasn't really on a team at that point, and I wanted to start getting back into the game properly because at the time I kind of wasn't really like playing too much.
Yeah, there was
And I
no
thought this,
tournaments too before.
yeah, and
There
I was
was like
like maybe,
zero for like over a year.
yeah, and I thought this time I might look for like a decent team, and they were pretty solid, so and I think Lagish wanted me on the team. Well, so I asked, and then I ended up on the team. I feel like orgs though, orgs like on Xbox to me, like they're fine. Like there's no downside of being on an org. There's no like, but there also isn't much upside.
Right.
Like at the moment, because I feel like orgs need time to build and to develop, and at the moment, like there isn't much orgs can offer you. So it's just to me, it feels like there isn't too much to be like in an org. But
Right.
I guess you've got to start somewhere. So these orgs, I don't know. So just at the moment, it's just not really any reason to being on like in with an org. And the throne,
Because
like it offered a
the only thing
bit.
they offer you is the name. Like that's just how I
Yeah,
see
the
it.
name.
That's the only thing they can really offer you is the name to
Right.
represent. That's really it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a bad org to be a part of though. Like there was nothing wrong with the org. It's just
Yeah.
wasn't too beneficial for us. But I guess
Mhm.
I don't know. Like what benefits could they really give us when we're playing console Overwatch? Like it's not like they're gonna like invest so much money into us because console Overwatch is pretty dead. So it's not they shouldn't really be looking to like give us all these benefits and stuff because there's really no they wouldn't be getting anything back from it
Right.
since it's just not popular.
Mhm.
Right. Right. And here's a few things because I have certain thoughts about it. I kind of try to express it on Twitter, but I think it's hard to kind of convey what you really feel on Twitter, especially because there's obviously character limitations and tones and stuff like that. But one of the things that because I absolutely understand where you guys are coming from. Personally, I competed in the tier 4 scene, so I was a tier below you guys, and I competed for Revitalize Esports, and I love the org themselves. They're great people and stuff like that. And before I got on the team, I hadn't even really started streaming or anything. And then halfway through the me being in the org, I started streaming. I had a podcast. It started getting somewhere, and throughout that time I felt like I wasn't getting anything back, or they were missing opportunities for me to kind of do stuff with them. Like I felt like at times, like, oh, like the other day we had a charity event with Danny DeFito, and they raised some money for a charity, and that was really cool on their part. And they had some streamers, and they had me and stuff like that join them, and that type of stuff, which was really cool. But like I felt like my org didn't really you know, um, offer me anything personally. Like everything that I did for myself,
Mhm.
which is fine, And that's why when you guys said, oh, console orgs don't really offer anything that we can't do for ourselves. Because I feel like somebody said that on Twitter. I think it was like Sento or somebody, but and which is true, right? It's absolutely true. I think that it's one of those things where, you know, um, the scene itself is not as big, so
Yeah.
there's nothing to be gained by being in an org. But like I also think that like even if there was, you'd have to kind of you'd have to grow the org as well, right? You can't, the org is going to be small until it becomes big, and it only becomes big if people support it with it.
Uh,
But so I that's
that's
just
the
my
bad
thought.
part of that too.
What's that?
Because that's if like that's also the players to if they want to get big,
Right.
the players kind of have to put in the effort, to try to
Yeah.
grow, to try to do more things. And I feel like most people on here just have no motivation to do that because they don't see it going anywhere in the first place. So they
Right.
don't want to even put their effort towards it.
I mean, to put it in perspective, though, I think in last year, I don't have the data for 2019, but last year in 2018, there was about 40 million active users across all platforms for Overwatch, right? Specifically in Xbox, there is accounted for individually around 20,000 people playing the game. That's not including Smurfs. That's including specific people, right? If
That's
those
currently.
Yeah, currently, as of right now, like those are the people that are playing right now, 20,000, which is a drop in the bucket compared to 20 or 40 million, right? But
Oh yeah, big time.
it's still a big number considering that, like, if you take 1/4 of that 20K of people that exist playing, and you took 1/4 of it, and that quarter watched Twitch, that's 5,000 people watching a game, right? So hypothetically, from a business and marketing standpoint, if you had that quarter people watching a game, like the CGL finals, that could be profitable eventually. Now, however, the making that happen, that's really hard, right? That's not like an easy
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
I mean, even for like even for like the CGL finals, I think there was like 150 maybe peak viewers, which is not bad considering it's console Overwatch, but it's still also not as big as other people. But yeah, I mean pretty much uh that's pretty much my thoughts on this. Now let me ask you guys this, and you kind of already answered this question a little bit, but like where do you think it can go from here? Because I think there is some way to market console Overwatch. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, we're not gonna be like tier 1 or tier 2 or anything like that. But I think there's a way for console Overwatch to kind of be like a tier 3 thing that we can probably average realistically about 500 people watching on Twitch, like if everybody wanted to and stuff like that. I think that's a possibility. I mean, CGL's Discord has like 7,000 people alone, I think. So I mean,
Um,
you know, it's
it's
technically possible.
no, yeah, it's definitely plausible. It's just giving people the motivation to play in like tournaments or I guess like the CGL had the seasons. And as you saw, like I'm pretty sure you noticed, like practically every top team for the season just got bored and just gave up
Right.
or just
Yeah.
didn't play. Like we in the CGL, because yeah, we were in the CGL finals, me and Harvey, and yeah, we lost, and I would mostly attribute that to we didn't scrim like once in the past like 4 months.
Yeah.
Like we didn't
That'll do
scrim
it.
because no one cared. There's
Right.
just no one to scrim, you know? The only people that play and the West Coasters, they play together, they're really good and they all play together a lot. So that's kind of to their advantage.
Right.
And yeah, just we just weren't prepared at all.
And credit to Banditos too, because they scrim all the
Oh yeah,
time.
big
Like,
time.
because
Oh yeah, they play together a lot.
they play. I mean, they don't only just play ranked a lot, but they also play scrims a lot. I mean, I'm always seeing Sham on Twitter looking for teams to scrim all the time. Like he's constantly, so they're working hard out there for their own thing. So I get what you're saying about the motivation and stuff like that. Also, Headrammer in the chat is asking if the 20K people are playing at one time or 20K people that still play the game in general. So statistically speaking, there was on the Blizzard website, there was a thing that was talking about how many individual accounts are that played Overwatch on a regular basis. So they have like statistics that played, and 20K was the number that they had. It was like 20 something. Also, there's groups on Facebook that have like 20K people. I mean, 90% of them are like platinum, but that's 90% of the player base. So I mean,
Hmm.
that's really what it is, anyways. But that's just to answer Headrammer's question in the chat. All right, so let's move on to something different. You guys went from playing in the finals for CGL, and then you guys also played in different teams moving forward for the Summer Splash. How was that experience going from CGL finals to the Summer Splash? What was the difference, and how was that for you guys?
Do you want to go, Harvey?
Sure. Well, I obviously left. Well, Throne obviously got disbanded, so I was just currently looking for a team. And then Sham asked me to join, so I ended up joining like this team with it's me, Sham, Anthony, Masuta, Wonderful, and Zelens. And then I think there was one other person, but I can't remember who. That team didn't last too long
Requaz.
because the team requires it because we struggled with like goats, and at the time like goats was like meta. So we wanted to like kind of change like a few bit of the roster. But then General Carnage had like wanted to merge teams with us. He wanted to merge with himself, Ace, Birdman, and I think was it Nico. So we ended up merging. Ended up dropping Wonderful and Rayquaza, and ended up being this new roster, which is like I guess like a new version of Banditos or whatever.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like I really liked that transition going into that team. Like everyone like played their role really well, and everyone was like willing to like play the game and like scrim a lot and like practice, which was fun, I guess. It's
Right.
like the friend really didn't care, and like a lot of the friend was like inactive anyway. They didn't really like play the game, so having like Banditos roster who are like really like I guess not I would say dedicated. They like played the game a lot, so we always practice and it was fun. That's what I just enjoy playing with. Which I hate playing ranked, and we used
Yeah.
to
I
just
don't
play
blame
in
you.
like this we used to play this like competitive setting a lot, which is why I enjoyed like playing. Why one of the main reasons why I like being on Banditos. Also, the players are also really good. They like probably Carnage is probably the best variant right now. Sham's pretty crap, but like we carry him, so it's fine.
He's pretty crap, but you know.
Yeah, yeah, you can carry him though. It's not that bad. And then Anthony's just like a little boy. He doesn't really know how to play the game, but he's
Right.
fine as well.
Yeah. I mean, you
Um,
guys are there to teach him, basically, right?
but yeah, I was really confident going into the tournament with that team because like they were just really solid players and they're also fun to team with.
Nice. Okay, so Vinny, what about your experience? Because I think it was different. And before we go to you, Vinny, I think I saw something on Twitter about Hxrvi. I think one of the things that when the roster was announced for the Summer Splash, I think somebody said if you can't beat them, join them was the was the overall thought. But I think that's kind of weird because for the console Overwatch scene, I mean, teams kind of go away and come back, and I mean, the top 500 people are you guys are kind of all friends with each other already. It's a small community, and it's
Mhm.
you guys already play with each other in ranked anyways. So like most of the time, you know, it's you guys mess with each other's teams all the time, anyways. So,
Yeah,
but Vinny,
yeah,
tell us about
kind
your
of like that.
experience.
I mean, going into the Summer Splash, our first team it was gonna have Carnage, Ace, me, Nano, and Birdman. We were gonna kind of make our own team, but that kind of fell through because Nano couldn't play that day,
Hmm.
and there was also one other. I think it was Zalance left, and then Anthony left, so then that team just kind of disbanded. So then I went back and I made a team with the draft tourney team, and we just won like the draft tournament, and everyone's like cool with each other there, so we just try to like make that work.
Hmm.
And every time we play, we try as hard as we can to not play goats
Yeah.
and to run just weird shit like Doomfist, Hammond,
Mm-hmm.
Arista Hog, like stuff like that. And yeah, we did pretty well in scrims. I'd say the only team we really couldn't scrim was Hxrvi, and that's kind of a downside because I had work. I have work like every day until like 4 or 5, and they usually scrim like earlier.
Mm.
But yeah, we were honestly beating like everyone in scrims, just running like just off meta stuff like that. But in when the finals came, we played them. We played good the first game. We were up 1-0, and then 3 maps in a row, just goats maps, and we thought we could play our stuff into them, but they were just like really good at goats. So we had to just mirror it back, and yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. We weren't gonna beat their goats with our mirror goats.
Right.
Cause
So
yeah, we tried running like Doomfist, like Orisa and stuff like that. It just didn't work. They were smart. They were playing like Ana if to take advantage of us not having a diva, and
right.
that's kind of like a flashback to the lane sauce journey because that's how we lost that too. Was no diva and they ran on Ana.
Nice. That totally makes sense. Tell me about the name Vinny's backpack. Who came up with it, and what was?
I mean our I mean our last team name was banned, Los Mojados.
Okay.
They told me that that was banned. I don't know why. I guess they're just racist towards Mexicans like
Yeah,
myself.
just stop being racist, forehead. Right.
Yeah, they're just racist. Like I don't know what to say. But no, the term Vinny's backpack came from Lagish. Lagish used to say it. Used to be like, Vinny, play rank with me. Put me in your backpack. So then that's kind of
That's
where I
kind of where
got
it
it
came from.
from.
Okay,
Um,
so I want to talk about this because I thought it was interesting. Um, this is kind of like a two-part question, right? Uh, so the first one is Vinny. Let's talk about the fact that you have been playing this game for a while, and notably, as far as tournament goes, yet you haven't had a first place yet. What this is to me, this is baffling, right?
He sucks.
So
Yeah, yeah.
so what? Tell me what goes through your mind when you go through these tournaments. Do you are you like, all right, I'm really, do you really try to get like first place? Is this something that has been haunting you, or are you trying to like be like, you know what, it's just, it is what it is? What's going through your mind about that?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said wasn't trying to get first place in like every tourney, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not as big a deal. Like I'm not after I lose, I'm not sitting there like crying myself to sleep like, wow, I really could have won this console tourney. But no, it's just like it doesn't really bother me, but yeah, of course I would want to win and stuff.
Sure.
But it's not that big a deal. And like the last, cause I think it's what, 3 second places in a row?
Yeah.
Lane
Yeah.
Sauce, and then CGO, and then Summer Splash.
Right.
So,
I mean,
it's just,
that's not, you're consistent, if anything, right? I mean, at the very
I mean, it's
least.
consistency, but just when the day comes, like the Lane Sauce tourney, I think we eat, like, it's crazy. Harvey can attest. Like, I think in scrims, we didn't drop like a single scrim. We won like every scrim, like over like 20-0. And even on tourney day, we were all fine, but it's
I
just dumb
mean,
decision on what we needed to run.
yeah, I mean, that was a really good game. I mean, you guys,
Yeah, it was really good.
I mean, that it's when I was watching, it was like, I can't believe that these guys are gonna get reverse swept. Like, this is insane. Like, at one point, I'm like, okay, all they need is this one push, and then they'll win. And I kept thinking that over and over again. I was like, it's not happening. They're tying this and taking it all the way to the end. That's insane, and that's exactly what happened. Which is something that, like, the best teams, that's happened to the best teams, right? I mean, that happened to the Golden State Warriors against the Cavs, you know, like that's happened to the Lakers against the Celtics. Like, it's always, there's always been a story
It's
about that.
one loss too, but
Right.
it's like losing one map like does it because it kind of just kills the teams. Like we kind of, I don't know. I think we had a bad attitude with that because we weren't used to losing any maps. So the second we lost one, it kind of put it in a little panic,
Yeah.
like oh yeah, we're still fine, guys. But everyone still has in the back of the head, like yeah, we could lose our first set, and we've never lost before. And then we decided to run stupid stuff like Doom Goats when we never ran it before. Like when they were, I think it was on the Kings Row game, they were kind of exploiting the fact that we didn't have a diva and they were running Ana and they were hitting constant antis and they capped on us really, really
Yeah,
fast. So then we started
for
putting
sure.
stupid stuff like Max Stanky on Diva or Dankus on Zen, like weird stuff that we've never done before. And it was just heat of the moment. We're just like,
Yeah.
okay, how do we do this? And everyone's just yelling at each other. It was just bad.
Okay, so Harvey, real quick, question in chat by Jay Jomac. What are your opinions on Kingdom Heart?
Best game ever made.
Best game. You know what? I know a lot of people
I've
who
heard the
agree with you.
I've heard the opposite lately.
He's heard the opposite. Okay.
What do you
I've heard
mean?
Kingdom Hearts 3 was a mad disappointment.
It wasn't. It
Just
wasn't.
from what
Yeah,
I've
it's a
heard.
disappointment. Doesn't mean it's a bad game. It was decent.
So you
So-
can be
All
the other games
disappointed
are
and
good,
still
though.
think it's good?
Well,
That's
Kingdom Hearts 2
interesting.
is like the best. Kingdom Hearts 3 is like not a bad game. It's good, but it's not the best Kingdom Hearts game ever. Though Kingdom Hearts 2 is. I don't know why we're talking about
Yeah.
this. But,
I don't know. But
Jay
I just saw
listen,
that.
Jay Jomac brought it up,
You don't
and
have a
I
question.
I had to ask it in the chat really quick. All right, so listen, we have the Summer Splash. So the next thing, right? And this is what's part of my two-part question, which was this is the second part of the question, which is I find it weird that that I was looking for a team for Nums games, just to for iNumlock games, so like just to hang out and do that. And then all of a sudden I got like War Shatter and Spree and Dankus who wanted to join me, and then all of a sudden I see all these other teams trying to stack their own teams to join the thing. Vinny, are you looking for a Num game win?
People like I honestly couldn't care less. But I just opened my phone on Snapchat one day, and T2X just asked me, he's like, "Yo, you want to be on a team?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then he texts me like a couple hours later. He's like, "All right, I got Carnage, Ace, and just like every top level player." I'm just like, "Okay, cool." Like, is this? I thought this was like a master tournament. He's just like, "Oh, okay."
I mean, it
I guess
was. It
yeah,
was
he's trying to play
until,
it
you
off
know.
as like all of us were gonna play like off roles, like not play our main role.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna play DPS, Carnage was gonna play off tank, stuff
Yeah.
like that. But then people started doing like I saw Doom's team. Doom's team is literally
Yeah,
his slash
they're all
team.
they're all making teams so that you can't get a win.
It's literally.
I
I
just gotta
mean, do
keep it
people even
going.
count this as a win?
I
I mean, they didn't
Yeah,
count the
they
draft
don't.
They
They
don't
don't,
count
but they're
like the
just doing
draft
it just to make
tourney.
it fun.
Yeah, they don't
yeah.
count the draft tourneys as a win. I think I've won the past like 2.
Yeah, that's
And
the thing. Like,
then
I didn't really think it was that big of a
because
thing.
yeah,
And
because like if people are counting tourneys just in the past
Mhm.
year, then yeah, they'd be right. I guess for big tourneys with Lane Sauce, CGL, and Summer Splash. But
Right.
I've won little overguard tourneys, little
Yeah.
draft like just those, but none of the big ones like Lane Sauce, stuff like that. I guess I'm just terrible. I just
guess
bring
I'm just-
everyone down.
Clip a chat. All right, so so
Yeah, but
that
the num games though, I don't know. I don't know why people are putting like their actual Summer Splash. I think even Dex, like Dex is doing it,
yeah.
Doomed is doing it, all making some.
I
Like,
saw a lot of people
num-
make teams. I mean, I remember I had to. This is how crazy it is because I'm not the most amazing player in the world. I know this, right? So I was trying to look for a team to have fun, and which I did. I ended up I played with Worst Shatter and Spree and all them before. So I mean, I like playing with them and they're fun people. But like when I made my team, it was for fun, right? And then I saw all these other teams stacking, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not gonna have fun
Yeah.
anymore. This is gonna be
I mean,
hard.
I think for half the people are taking it a little too serious, and the other half are just kind of like it's whatever.
Right. So listen, if you see me on Soldier or Roadhog or Symmetra, you know that we're throwing. Just to let
Yeah.
you know, all right?
I got you.
If you see me on anything other than Lucio and maybe Ana, then I'm pretty much throwing.
Mhm. I mean, people thought. I mean, how can you take any team serious with the D2X on main tank though? I don't know how people are saying my team is
Pew pew!
serious.
Shots fired.
They need to chill out.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, listen, that's really all the time we have. I think unless there's any more questions, like J. Jomac's Kingdom Hearts question, if there's any more questions in the chat, let me know. As far as competitively, I know that Hxrvi, you're with Banditos now, so obviously you guys are going to be moving forward as that. Vinny, do you have any plans to do anything competitively, taking a little more serious other than like num games, but going forward, maybe making a different roster or something? Is that something that you have in mind?
I mean, I guess we'll just see if a tourney is even announced, because that's
Right.
the only way people would even make teams in the first place, you know?
Right. Right.
Just because scrimming is the fun part. I really like scrimming. I don't like playing ranked, just like Hxrvi.
Yeah.
Ranked is just no bueno.
Yeah,
So
it's so
scrims are really
shit.
fun.
It's
I'd
just,
rather
like no
sit
point in playing it.
I'd rather sit and play goats in a scrim for hours than playing any rank game and getting legendary on my team. It's just unfortunate.
Absolutely.
and-
I totally agree, by the way.
E rank
Scrims
is
are
like awful as well.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like the worst.
Oh, I know. I
Absolutely.
have a friend. I have a friend that he's also in Masters, and he's in EU, and we play together sometimes. And sometimes I get EU games, and they first of all, there's almost no one in chat ever in game chat, and then
Yeah, there isn't, and everyone just speaks different languages anyway, so you can't
Yeah.
understand a word anyone's saying.
yeah, basically. So yeah, it's hard. It's difficult, but cool. Well, listen, Vinny, I hope that if you do make a team, I hope that you win it. Just because I feel like some people are just.
I mean, it's funny because no one would care, right? But the fact that Tensa tweeted it, that's what people like care.
I mean,
But
I
no
know.
one cares.
I know
Nobody
people. I know people like my friend Headrammer. He was like, I just want to watch these games to watch Vinny lose another tournament, and I was like, wow, that's
Yeah,
that's
see, you gotta
toxic.
have that mindset.
And I was like,
That
listen,
mindset
I'm rooting for the
gets you
underdog.
through the day.
I'm rooting for the underdog. I want Vinny to win. All right, so hopefully that happens.
Should
Hxrvi,
win
I
by
don't.
Really
now.
the underdog though, then I guess I really do suck.
I felt bad for being Vinny in the fucking Summer Splash.
Yeah, I know. Harvey messaged me. He's like, dude, I honestly feel bad. I'm like, Harvey,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Vinny was like
I think,
crying.
yeah, I was just crying to
He
myself.
started like drinking after it as well.
Right.
Because honestly, I think people care more about me not winning than I do about not winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's not like I see you on social media being like, "Oh, guys, no, it's not true." You know, like you're just like whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's a good meme at this point.
Right.
Hopefully they don't kill it.
I do
'Cause,
remember
it could get killed.
I do remember Nips jokingly saying on Twitter that he was looking for a team, and one of his credentials was that he had more wins than Vinny.
Oh, that's anybody at this point.
So that is pretty funny. I like the memes. I like the memes.
Yeah, I don't mind the memes. Let's just not kill it.
Basically. All right. So listen, thank you for passing by. I appreciate it. Vinny, like I said, I hope you do get a win because I want to see you win one of these.
Let's keep the meme going.
Let's keep the meme going. All right. Well,
Get me
you'll
my
see.
4th silver place next turn.
You'll see me in Twitch chat rooting for you though.
Oh,
That's why I stopped teaming with Vinny in the first place, because he's cursed.
Yeah, just Kurt.
Basically, dude.
No,
And
Kurt.
Harvey, I don't really have to wish you luck because I feel like Banditos is kind of rolling everything right now. So you're good to go, dude. You're all right. you don't need my luck, all right? It's fine.
The best goats team.
Yeah.
I swear to you, no, like I don't know why. I don't know why Carnage is the best. I feel like he's the best Ryan by like a mile, and
Yeah.
I don't know why that.
I absolutely agree. Every
he's
time I've ever
the best
seen,
Ryan by a mile.
every time I've seen General Carnage play, I mean he really is like he really is like miles away from the other Ryan. Like it just seems like
for sure. And in the goats meta, that
Where did he even come from? I don't know where Carnage came from. Like, when did he? I just saw him in like the.
I only
Rainforest
saw him
tourney
late
and
last
lost
tourney.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we just lost."
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him until but to be fair, I didn't. I'm particularly new to the scene, so I don't really know anybody to begin with. But like the first time I saw him was the Lame Sauce tournament, and he dominated. He was so good there, and he was good. He was good from there on. Okay, Jay Jomac. Before we go, he wants me to ask Hxrvi about the Halo shirt. I don't know what that means. Feel free to answer.
Yes, I just have a fucking Halo t-shirt, basically.
Okay, confirmed. I hate nerds. All right.
Damn.
Oh man. All right. Well, listen. Tomorrow we're gonna have Dak908 on the show. He's a sponsored streamer for CGL. We're gonna talk to him about different games and stuff like that. So tune in for that. Next week we have our Pride Week, where we're gonna actually have some of the guests from the LGBT community. So stick around for those. I'll post them on Twitter to let you know when we're gonna have that.
You
Well,
gonna get Midnight?
He's gonna get your J-Mac.
You can get J-Mac and ZR Midnight. I think they'd be perfect.
Yeah.
And they'll probably fall in love like on the show.
Listen, the invitation is set. I have already said on Twitter that if they want to come on, they can come on. But for for true LGBT community, I'm gonna have first. I think I'm gonna have Funded on the show. I think he's gonna be on Thursday, and then I think somebody else. I'm not sure who we're gonna get for Friday. Hopefully, might be either. Might be either Hxrvi or Tokyo or Queen May. Who knows? One of somebody's gonna say yes at some point. So we'll get them on the show. And then if ZR wants to come in, and Jay Jomac wants to come in, I'll be I'll be happy to greet him. All right, guys, that's it for the show. I'm gonna go ahead and raid somebody from the community. I think Paz Swagger is online. I'm gonna go ahead and raid him. I think he's been really cool. He's hosted me before. He's a great guy. Check his channel out. And until tomorrow, guys, I'll see you later. Take care. Peace.
All right, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. fun. F it up.